Hi, could you please, for the record, just tell us who you are?
I'm Janie Litz.
And how did you come to have experiences with waste or garbage in your own life? What was your experience of this situation like that?
I lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and they put a dump off Haynes Mill Road.
Okay.
And the smell would reach anywhere between 10 and 15 miles when it was hot and the wind was blowing. And sometimes the wind didn't even have to blow. It was when they would try to cover it over. They'd let it pile 10 to 15 feet before they'd even cover it over. And they took over acres and acres and acres of land. You couldn't stand the stench. Sometimes you couldn't even go out on your own porch and sit because you couldn't take the smell.
And how long ago did this happen?
Oh, many years ago, over 20.
And did they tell you in the beginning that it wasn't going to be so bad?
Yeah, they told us it was just going to be a garbage pile, for just a regular garbage pile. Before you knew it, it was aerosol, paint, asbestos, roof shingles, tires, anything they could throw in there.
Now, the situation that is presented to the residents of Ridgefield, the original, as I understand it, the original application was for Class 10, which is regular household waste and hospital, garbage. Then Class, I think it's 11, which is bulk garbage, and then 13, which is the construction garbage. Now, they withdrew one of them, which was the household garbage. But if they actually take out the household garbage, do you feel that that would make things more tolerable if they could just do construction debris?
No, it's going to make it worse because, I mean, they don't separate it. They say they have separation in their dumps, but nobody has time to separate it. In construction, they've used these great big dumpsters. They throw all of it in there. They have absolutely no separation because they don't want to pay $300 and $600 for separate dumpsters. And they use dump trucks that they throw everything into. So you're going to have all these chemicals mixed into one dumpster, and they're not going to. The guards over there that are supposed to check it, as well as the construction workers that are supposed to be able to maintain the separation, nobody has time for that. Nobody wants to put the money out, so they all turn their heads and they throw it in one spot. So irregardless, the smell, the chemicals, the everything, it's going in the ground, and it's going to, and then all the acid rain on top of it. It's going to be more and more chemicals, and it's still going to have a stench. And if you believe for 1 minute that they're not going to dump household dumps there, eventually it's going to happen anyway. It's kind of like, when they run out of room in one place and they feel like they've got a spot they can put it, they're just going to do it. You can go look at the dump they have now, and they'll tell you the same thing. Oh, no, we separate it. Go out there and sit for one entire day and watch, and you'll see that they're full of baloney. They lie.
So when someone theoretically knocks down a house in the...
They don't go around separating the wood from the nails, from the brick, from the kitchen cabinets, and that house may have had roaches. It could have had food still in the cabinets. It could have had molded food in the refrigerator. It could have had cooked food everywhere. They just they demolish it. They throw it all in one lump and they throw it away. You have no idea what's in there.
Right. There might have been some lead paint somewhere.
There of course there's going to be lead paint, because if they're demolishing a house, most likely it's an old one. They're not taking a new one out.
There you go. And there might be some traces of
asbestos, because most of the siding on houses is asbestos.
And that gets all crushed and crumpled.
And once you touch asbestos is when it starts to, that's when you open it up. It's an open can of worms. If you leave it alone and let it sit there, it doesn't bother anything. It's just like lead paint. If you leave it alone and you don't touch it, it doesn't bother anything. But the minute you start touching it is when everything starts to crumble with it.
Okay.
That's when it starts coming out and doing its deed.
So it's getting all crumpled up, moved around in trucks, agitated.
Which means it's going to bother everybody.
And even if they try to cover it with a tarp or something...
It doesn't matter, because once you start touching that stuff, it's kind of like a scratch and sniff. It doesn't smell until you scratch it.
Okay, that's a good analogy. I get you. So this is what they want to do right here in Ridgefield Park.
Right.
Start right here in Ridgefield, I'd say.
Then that's what they're going to do. So what they're going to do is tell you all this good stuff about it, but there's nothing good about garbage. And really, in reality, they use garbage to make fuel, so why do they need to dump? Why don't they just take that garbage and go make fuel out of it and leave us the hell alone?
And you are a recent resident of Ridgefield?
Yeah, I've been here since January.
Okay. And you moved here to find a nice place to live.
I thought so.
And how did you feel when you found out about this yesterday?
It pissed me off. It pissed me off. If I'd have known that, I would have never lived here. I'd have never moved here. There'd been no point to it. Who wants to go outside and smell that? Why don't you just put a chicken plant out here? It's going to be the same stench.
I hear you.
And really, who wants to invite your friends over and say, oh, by the way, I live near the dump?
Yeah. And even though you live...
Hold your nose.
What is it, like a mile away from here?
And those things reach up to anywhere between 10 and 15 miles, I'm telling you. In this kind of heat, any kind of trash, garbage, anything. It's just, that's the way it is. It's going to stink, and you're going to smell it. And when the wind blows, and the wind around here, it gets a little on up there anyway. You're going to smell it for miles and miles and miles.
And even if you can't smell it, those little particulates of those nasty substances.
And with the kind of money that goes in and out and generates in this area, I don't know why they think they could put it here anyway. You know, usually they pick on poorer neighborhoods, and that's terrible to even say, but really that's the truth.
Yeah.
So why here? Why don't they go someplace where it's commercial anyway?
Right.
You have enough trucks. Look, you got CSX and everything else going down by the water. You want a landfill, you want to dump, put it down there somewhere. They don't care. Them truckers are in and out. They don't smell it. Go pick over there. It already looks like crap. Go mess it up some more. Leave us alone.
Yeah, well, as I understand it, Ridgefield is totally zoned residential. The only reason that that area is zoned light industrial is because it's grandfathered in from the past, so he's allowed to have his karting business there.
Yeah.
But now he's trying to expand it into a whole other kind of operation.
Well, of course, he can make a good $5 or $6 million real quick.
And that's what
and see, there's the other thing.
They
are going to take marble, concrete, brick, all these hard surface things, and they're going to be turning them under. Well, when you get 10 and 15 and 20 feet of that stuff and you start turning it under, then it becomes a landfill. It no longer becomes a waste dump either.
Interesting.
Well, before you know it, you've got piles of this stuff, so now the ground's uneven. And once they get to the point of where they can't build up on it anymore and they move to a different acreage, they're gonna sell that part off to some poor jerk who didn't know it. Okay?
Even though this is supposed to be a depot.
Right.
It's a place where the garbage comes,
but once
and
it
then
gets
they move
to a
it back
certain
forth.
point and they're done with it and they want to move to another area, they're going to sell it and somebody's going to be building on that wasteland.
So there could be groundwater contamination into the soil from all the rain.
That's exactly right. And it's going to infect our environment. Like we don't have enough trouble already. So no, I wouldn't have moved here for anything in the world.
Okay.
I don't think anybody would have.
Go ahead. Would you like to add more, because we're just about ready to...
That's really it. That's what I'm telling you. It's absolutely wrong. There's nothing going to be good about it. The only thing that's going to be good is for the people that are making money on it, and that's still not good. It's dirty money.
Right. So they're making money for the short term for themselves, and they're hurting the environment for the broader community.
Yeah, so we're eating crap and they're eating steak. That's basically it.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.